or something like that. Stay in studio. Yeah, okay. So let me see if I can change the layout. Because right now we're live, okay? So the idea is that I don't know how to change the layout again though. That's the problem. It seems like whenever someone is making a sound or speaking, they are like the main speaker in this layout, you know?
Okay, yeah.
So right now, what it is that we're the three of us going on live, and we're the three co-presenters or participating. So for example, if we go live on a platform like YouTube, which I'm gonna try to open right now to see if I'm actually sharing this on YouTube, or does it mean that when we're done, it actually publishes it as a test, you know? So I'm just, give me a second. I'm gonna open my YouTube to see if it's posting or if it's posting after the recording, you know? Yeah, I'm on live.
Nice.
Hey, Maxim.
This is cool, man. This is so cool. Actually, let me do something. Can one of either of you try to go into YouTube? One of you, you know, and the other one stays, and we try to see if you can view the conversation on YouTube. You know, that's gonna be awesome because I saw myself, and I was, yeah, this works, you know.
Hang on, I can do both because I'm on the app. What's your YouTube?
It's like my name, Karim Reda del Barrio. Let me just copy you the link. I think there should be a chat here. Let me see if I can get it on the chat. Although probably if you search by my full name, it's gonna appear to you. Yeah, it's showing us live.
Yeah.
This is so cool. This is dope.
I see your channel.
Is it a YouTube channel or what is it? Or is it a user?
Yes,
Can
we
you
are
see
live.
my comment on YouTube?
Yes, I can see it on the
Yes,
platform,
hello.
not on YouTube. I can see it here.
Oh, that's cool.
That's so cool, man. Because we
I'm
don't even have to
using
go to
YouTube.
YouTube. Let me do something.
That's really good.
And let me do something. Can one of you jump off and I send you the link and you try to join from YouTube? So you comment and I comment on YouTube and you join from YouTube. You know what I'm trying to say or not?
Yeah, sure. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. ¿Qué tal, Alberto? ¿Te gusta el tema o no?
¿El?
¿Que te gusta lo que estamos
What?
haciendo? ¿Que te parece correcto o no?
Yes, it's all right.
Estamos probando, básicamente. A ver si
Yes, I'm also in YouTube, and I see the comments.
You see the comments on YouTube as well.
Yeah, the only thing, it seems that the video, it's like, it's lagging. I mean, it's not exactly live, but like, you know,
No,
with
because that's because
retardation.
that's the ping, that's the lag. Because we're opening both streams at the same time. But if you disconnect from here and it shows there, we shouldn't have latency. That's the thing. I also see it on my YouTube as a delay, but it's because I'm doing two things at the same time. But if you were only on YouTube, like for example, try to disconnect and then and enter again and try to view it from...
No problem.
Vale. We'll send you the link. Will you send me
Because otherwise, maybe I won't be able to reconnect.
Yes, I can understand. Sí.
You know, we've been lucky, so let's just stay here.
Tío, pues esto está guay, tío, porque lo podemos hacer así, tío. Podemos hacer contenido.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Maxim, you
That's
joined.
fine. 10
That's
seconds from getting the link on YouTube to getting the it opens the link and I'm here.
but do you see latency? Like, do you see delay from when we're
Yeah,
talking
but you
until
know,
you
it's
receive it?
it's a live stream. Like all live streams have like a 10, 20 second delay. It's not a big deal.
But I'm happy that it
Anyone who's
works,
here,
man.
it's live. It's just to stream it to the other platforms to go through the whole system. You know, it's but it's not long at all. It's yeah, literally a few seconds.
Because I did a 14-day trial here with this Riverside thing, and if it works out, I might as well just, subscribe for it, because if we're gonna start doing content that is, because I feel like monologue content is boring sometimes, you know what I mean? Especially when it's not
Yeah,
even live. And when we do this kind of dialogue and it's live on YouTube and people start joining, and you can even put like €5, for example, for the stream to go, more viral and whatever. That's gonna bring, organic audience, like they say.
for sure. Yeah, and this is great. I've never used Riverside like this before. I used it once like 5 years ago, but this is a great system. I'm really pleased that you're bringing this to head on. This is exciting.
I'm very pleased that you helped me do this, both of you. I mean, definitely very grateful.
No
Yeah,
problem.
for sure. And you
Fantastic.
guys
So
are cool with us posting the conversation you're going to have to the head on YouTube.
yeah, Alberto,
And
I
of
think,
course, you know,
yeah.
we'll like promote your channel and your stuff.
Yeah, so I'll pass the mic to Alberto, maybe see what his opinion is.
I have no problem at all. I'm just here to contribute and help you, so I have no problem.
I'm really looking forward to hearing your story as well. You're a convert to Islam?
Me? Yes.
Yeah, nice. It's interesting. As a Spaniard, it's cool. I'm British, so you know we have a difficult relationship with Spain, but no,
Historically,
it's a lovely
historically.
place.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
But, we are average people from the mainstream, some from main streets. Between us, there is no problem at all.
Lovely. Of course, yeah.
Maybe
It's only the those silly elites.
the fat cats, yes.
Yeah, brilliant, man.
Fantastic. No, so yeah, Maxim, definitely. We're gonna work, Alberto and myself, on see how we can do the content, because what we spoke until now was to kind of have a theme, like a conversation, certain theme, what we're gonna talk about, but then let it flow with whoever participates. So basically, we're going to be talking about current events, the current situation of the world, how we view it, etc. Have let's say international relations, current affairs from different angles. Probably his angle, my angle, dialogue. You know what I mean? And obviously, it's open for anyone to join. So if anyone like yourself, Maxim, would like to contribute, initially we were going to do it in Spanish, but maybe we can start in English so we can get the audience from head on. You know what I mean? Like that kind of people following, and it will maybe be relevant.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. You'll
And
definitely get at
obviously,
least.
Maxim, if you would like to contribute to the discussion, you're most welcome. Obviously.
Well, if I feel there's something I can contribute, I'll definitely offer to hop in.
Fantastic. So we'll
You
schedule.
mentioned you studied politics and international relations and that kind of thing. So I'll let you know. I did a politics, philosophy, economics at Goldsmiths in London for 2 years,
Yes,
and then I
Goldsmith,
dropped
yes.
out because I was a supporter of Jeremy Corbyn in 2019, and I was very involved with the Labour Party, and then I saw it from the inside. Like I got so involved that I saw the inside mechanics of it, and I went, wow, these guys are incompetent. I don't want them to have power. I think that it would actually be disastrous if, for my own cause, if these people who claim to champion it were to actually become the government and they just ruin everything. And then I also became religious through the Hare Krishna movement because I was raised totally secular. My family is Jewish. My mum's Israeli. My father's English, but totally secular. Like no, they even like are hostile to religion. But then it's yeah, I got involved with the Hare Krishna movement. I've written
Buddhism,
some
right?
books here.
Hare Krishna is Buddhism, right? Or what is the Hare Krishna?
It is a sect of the Vedic system. So the way we see it, do we have? Yeah, we see
Isn't it
Buddha is like
the
a saint, but he's
I've seen
actually
Hare Krishna
Buddha.
people like they do some chants and some music around the street. Isn't this relevant
Yes,
to that or not? Okay,
I saw
yes.
nice.
them.
So
I saw them. I saw them in the
Wow,
street
that's because
with
you
ding
guys are
ding
like
ding.
really
No,
Pacific and really kind of mellow, right? Or is that a
it's the
misconception?
best. I'll give you a very brief thing of it because
Yes.
I'll finish the story. But Hare Nama, Hare Naima, Kevalam, Kela Nasti, Ever Nasti, Ever Nasti, Ever Gatia Anyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. So that's the point. So Buddha, he was an atheist. He taught atheism, but what he did was because he was a manifestation of God's potency, like a prophet, but a little bit more elevated than even that. Even though a prophet is of course perfect and totally pure, like infallibly pure. Muhammad, Jesus, Moses, all of them from the Hare Krishna perspective. But Buddha, because you mentioned Buddhism, he actually deceived people into being monotheistic because he was a representative of the Lord, bringing people away from corruption, even though he disguised it as atheism. But yeah, in general, the Hare Krishna thing is purely monotheistic. It just recognizes the different energies of God, the different energies of reality, because God, of course, is multifaceted. You know, he is one. He is Krishna. He is Allah, God,
The
Hashem,
beginning
whatever
and
you
the
want to
end,
call it.
right? The alpha and the omega, like they say.
Yeah, he is everything. He is the source, the end, the maintenance. But yeah, and then you mentioned the singing and the dancing. This is the glorification of God. What better thing is there to do in life than to glorify God with
Celebrate.
every act you do? And yeah, so I got into that, and I became a monk for a couple of years after
Wow.
dabbling in it and leaving politics because I was so disillusioned. And then I was like, after a while, this was about a year, 2 years ago now. I was like, well, I'm not going to be a monk for my entire life. I quite like coffee. I like my vape. I like Coca-Cola. I like women. These things are actually something I don't think I can give up forever. And so I embraced my Judaism. I started speaking with rabbis. I'd actually, while I was a monk, had been every now and then I'd meet with a rabbi because I found it from a kind of scholarly perspective
Spiritual
very
level.
interesting to
Yeah.
study. And I was like, hey, look, I'm a Jew. I've got to embrace this a bit more. Like I still love God. I just need to um, worship Him and have a relationship with Him that is more able to integrate into my normal life now that I'm not living like a monk anymore.
You know,
And so
Maxim,
now
I
I'm here and
feel
I'm moving to Israel.
the way I perceive you, the little that I've known you, I feel like you're a very spiritual person. You're a very harmonious, pure soul, man. That's the vibe that I get from you, man. And
Thank you. That means a lot.
wow, I applaud you, definitely, man. Major respect. Even though
I
we were,
appreciate it.
I'm Muslim, practicing Muslim. My mother is a devout Catholic. I know Alberto's a Muslim as well. But at the end, I like to say that religion is different paths to a same direction.
Yes.
Some the same destination more than the same direction. And
Yeah, and
and
it
and the
says this
fact,
in the Quran as well, right? Like I've got a
yes.
copy. I read a little bit every now and then. I remember in like the first chapter, it says, look, the Jews who are doing Judaism properly, they've got it. You don't need to bother them. It's just so many. It says many Jews are corrupt, and it's true. But
No, but I mean, I get
all
what you're
religions
saying.
have this understanding in some way that
And
it's
a
we all
lot of
have it.
Muslims are corrupt too and bad, and
Yeah,
at the end, it's there are good people and bad people everywhere. At the end, we need to be tolerant and respectful and love one another. And that's what it's all
of
about
course.
at the end.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, God, there's issues in the Hare Krishna world too, man. It's a lot, but yeah,
And you
it's
have never
everywhere. This is
considered,
humanity. This is
sorry,
our condition.
allow me of being so forward, Maxim, but have you never considered Islam? Has anybody ever pitched you Islam before? Because you seem like a very solid candidate.
No, I appreciate certain things about it, but I also there are parts of it, including parts of the Quran, which I do have serious issues with. But
Can you
I
name me a
respect
couple, for example?
As for example,
sex slavery. I have an issue with some of the actions of Muhammad. Look, I don't wanna cause offense. Like I don't
No,
wanna.
but can you elaborate? Because sex slavery, I mean, slavery as a concept the whole purpose of Islam was to abolish slavery in a gradual manner. So when you
Sure,
say
but it still
slavery,
hasn't
can you
really
elaborate?
achieved that.
Maybe I
I mean,
was
I'd have
misunderstood.
to find the quote, but there is a line in the Quran. I remember it's to do with taking captives after war, and especially taking the women. You know, you kill the men, and then you raise the children Muslim, and you take the young women as to be your to possess with your right
Concubines.
hand. I think that's the
Mm.
line.
I can elaborate on that. Maxim, the message of Islam, no, came to a people who didn't know God
Mm.
and who were into paganism, and they lived. The majority of the people lived immoral life without spiritual light and guidance, and they tended to do whatever they wanted, you know. And it was very common in those days, yes, to wage terrible wars, to take captives. This was common all over the place, all around the world, killing, taking captives, slavery, etc., etc. But the message of Islam came to gradually transform the society, no? And one of the aspects to transform was that of slavery, no? And the method that God uses is to do things instead of with a shock overnight. It uses a gradual,
Process.
evolution, step by step. Because if you come to a people who are very stubborn, they want to follow their own desires, their own attitudes, and you want to do things overnight, that is impossible. They will reject any kind of change. So what God did, and the Prophet Muhammad, was to start, encouraging, showing to the people that there is another way of doing things, etc., etc. No? For example, Prophet Muhammad, when he was visiting people who were slaves of other people, he was interested in he used to ask, for example, how much does your owner charge you as taxes? No? And the slave said, this amount. No? And Prophet Muhammad used to say, okay, tell your owner to lower that tax. No? Or for example, yes, there were wars and battles, and for example, Muhammad and his companions took slaves. But what Muhammad did in order to give example, a good example, was to liberate people. And this is in the hadith, in the tradition of the Prophet, no? And when the companions of the Prophet saw that, they said, hey, Muhammad liberated his slaves that he got from this battle. Okay, let's do the same. And people started liberating slaves, because the mindset of that people of that period, it's called Jahiliyyah in Arabic, no? The period of ignorance, the pre-Islamic period. They were doing things like that, no? We take slaves, we own them, and that's all, no? But Muhammad gave the example according to the instructions of God, and and for example in the Quran you find that it was revealed during a period of 23 years, and you see this gradual evolution, no? For example, first exhorting to, encouraging to liberate slaves, then promoting, let's say, some kind of bans, etc., on bad things, no? This happened, for example, with slavery. This happened, for example, with usury, with the consumption of alcohol, no? There were no bans the first years. The first years were, for example, saying, okay, give charity instead of practicing usury. Okay, try to be good to your own slave. Don't hit them. Don't, give them good food. good clothing, etc., etc. No, the next step, no, a few years later, the next step was something like, for example, okay, if you commit a sin, for example, if you don't do your fasting in Ramadan properly, or if you, I don't know, there are other sins, no? The expiation was to liberate a slave. You see, there are gradual increments in order to finish with slavery. In the case of usury, for example, the first step was be charitable. The next step would be, okay, when you receive the money that somebody owes you, take the principal, but leave alone, reject the interest. No, the next step a few years later would be, okay, practicing usury is totally illegal. You see, slavery is forbidden. For example,
Actually,
these,
alcohol,
these are
Alberto.
examples. You see?
For example, if I may interfere, Alberto, sorry. What you mentioned about the example of alcohol consumption, and sorry, Maxim, we're being too preachy here. We're giving you the
It's okay.
chance.
I'm not going to convert. Sorry, but
No, but I
I
mean,
do like
No
hearing
problem.
because
yeah,
there are, in Britain we have basically got the worst people from the entire Islamic world who are being very hostile in our country, and it's very refreshing to hear an example proposition of Islam that is actually respectable and admirable.
thank you.
It gives me faith.
Thank you, and that's very noble of you, Maxim. And actually, the fact that I wanted to mention is that just to kind of not deviate too much from the topic that Alberto was mentioning is about alcohol consumption. And the Arabs were known to be big party animals. You know, they used to drink like they drink a lot, and their women and everything. And one of the verses in the Holy Quran that mentions is don't approach prayer while you're drunk, and that is some ignorants say, oh, I can pray while I'm tipsy. No, it doesn't mean that. It means that it was a process of gradually, what Alberto was mentioning, gradually decreasing the habit or the necessity or the custom of drinking. So people need to start praying, but they can't quit alcohol immediately, or their customs or their attitudes or whatever. So that's one of the examples, Maxim, and I don't know if that's what you were heading at, Alberto, with your discourse.
Sorry,
You
are
hear
you
me?
talking
I
to me
don't know
now?
if it's a delay or if it's you hear me on time. It like this is what you were saying basically, right, Alberto?
Yes, of course, yes.
So
Yeah, I mean,
Maxim, at
I
the end.
definitely recognize that whole progression, right? I see it. It's and I identify as a Jew now, but my faith is so shaped by the Hare Krishna, so I always refer back to it, which is that this is their whole conception that God delivers the messenger in the time and the place to do what is able to do, because human beings are corrupt. We are, we're so impure and filthy. So he sends a perfect soul, someone who is not fallen like us, but has descended by choice, by instruction, to give us what we can take, to bring us closer to him. And yeah, so I totally recognize this process of doing what he could with the people he had.
And actually, the reason we're argumenting so much, Maxim, and I think we're doing it in an elegant way at the end. We're not being too pushy about it,
No,
It's
it's all
because more or less you invited us to it because you said you gave us, a reason to kind of argument because we have to contra-argument what you're saying about sex slavery, for example.
of course
It is
you've got
true
to
that
defend that.
it's horrible, but that was
Yeah, yeah.
at the time in the medieval and the classical era. Slavery was a reality, and it was inevitable that it was part of society, and it had to gradually evolve, like Alberto was mentioning, into something more civilized, and that is the approach, and that's why I wanted to mention that. And I'm, by the way, I'm sorry I'm taking too much of your time, both of you. The whole process, the whole purpose of the video was to do a test, but I'm really enjoying this conversation. Both of you are proper gentleman. Maxim, you're a very spiritual person, and I admire you. And I urge you.
Likewise. It's lovely
I obviously, I humbly invite you to give us a chance to invite you to know our faith, not even convert, but to know it. You know what I mean? We, Alberto and I don't know if we mentioned, and I'm gonna say it to him, Alberto. We do every weekly. We go to public places, and we do what we call dawah, which is we invite people to know our faith. We have samples of literature of scriptures of the Quran or pamphlets or whatever, and we invite people. We have conversations with them, even Muslims who are maybe need a refresh, you know. And it really, we do it more for ourselves than we do it for other people, because at the end we feel reinforced in our faith, and we feel we're offering this to God Almighty in a sense that, well, this is what we can contribute, right, Alberto? I don't know. I that's why I view it, at least.
Well, I do this activity because, you know, it's a good deed.
Exactly.
You know,
I
like to talk
recognize
to
we've
people.
got the Dawah in the UK. Do you know the Dawah Bros?
No, I
It's a
don't
thing.
No,
know.
not really.
I'll get to it, but I of course I recognize the whole practice, because this is what the Hare Krishnas do. If you live in a temple, you're expected every single day to go out on the streets and distribute the books. You sell the books. The temples are maintained by the profit from the books. So that is the base. You wake up in the morning, you do the rituals, you chant, and then you spend all day working on the streets by selling the books. And then you come home, you
Beautiful.
do the rituals, you go to sleep.
I
And
really
it's,
wish more Muslims did that.
yeah, it's intense. It was too much for me. I didn't have the devotion to God that was required to maintain that. But I don't respect anything more. It's the highest. But yeah, like I mentioned in the UK, like, you know, the Islam you're describing is something that is truly respectable. And what we've got in the UK is the worst of it. Like the most famous Muslim in the UK is Muhammad Hijab. You know him?
Not me.
And he's a terrible example of Islam. He's a very
Because he's
unlikable
really offensive in
person.
his debates. He really corners people and make them feel uncomfortable. And he
Well,
uses the
I actually
rhetoric.
I respect his debates, but it's his the example of Islam he gives, I think, is very poor. It's he himself is corrupted, and so people go, oh, that's what Islam is. I don't want anything to do with that.
Do you know a person called Ahmad Didat, for example? He's a
Ahmad
South
Didat.
African gentleman. He lived a while
No.
back. He also was very strong on debates, especially against monotheistic faiths or Christianity. But I like to think that there should be a sense of etiquette and protocol. We need to be civilized, and we need to be sensible about how we approach people. As you can see, Alberto and I, we could have been like, "Oh, you're a filthy Jew." No, forget about you, you know. But we were, yeah, we were respectful, kind, and at the end, you're a person. Before that, you're a Jew or a Hare Krishna or an atheist, you know. And we love you and respect you for it, because at the end, you are our brother, you know. And regardless of your faith, you have given us your time to test this process out, and I don't believe in random. I believe in destiny, and I believe maybe it was our destiny to the three of us to meet today and talk about these topics. Selfishly, I think it reinforces my faith. It kind of gives me more hope and more purpose towards what I'm doing, and obviously I feel very honored that I'm having this conversation with both of you.
No, it's a pleasure. And you know, it's funny. There was an incident where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's like the kind of the founder of the current lineage of the Hare Krishna faith, he was an incarnation of God. That's the belief. Who appeared in Bengal, in Nabadweep, 500 years ago, and of course Bengal was ruled by Muslim kings at the time, and they outlawed public practice of the Vedic traditions. And you know, for a culture whose primary practice is singing and dancing in public, to like the
You
public
kind of limit the whole purpose of what they do, yeah.
yeah, the sharing of that joy, the ecstasy of God is the point. That's the main thing. That's very difficult. So Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, went to the king, and he convinced the king that the Hare Krishnas are better Muslims than the king himself, because they are more submission. They have submitted to God in a more devoted, more perfect way. Sure, the practices look different, the whatever, but you know, ultimately he's and the king accepted this. The king went, fine, you can do what you want because you understand God better than me. You are closer. You don't
You're
need
more
to
spiritual.
follow. Yeah, you don't need to follow one book or the other because you follow God. You are a true servant, a true slave of God. And so he allowed the practice. He successfully convinced the king that his group, his tradition are Muslims, but they just have a different kind of Islam.
It's spiritual. I like to think it's like being from a monastery, from a monk. You know, you're devoted into uh, giving your all to spirituality and being nice and being kind and generous and loving towards your faith and your people and your community. I respect
Yeah.
it.
And I because you know, obviously I'm Israeli. I'm going there. I'm very a lot of people, especially in the head-on community, they know me as being like a really hardcore Zionist, a really hardcore nationalist. But I think that what many people don't understand and why there isn't peace is because they don't realize that it is people like me who will make the peace, because it is people like me who respect the Muslims, and not as a fetishization, or the Arabs in general, not as like a fetishization or like seeing them as some kind of third world people who oh, you know, sure, we have
Second
our
class
lovely
citizens.
enlightened liberal democracy. It's no, we're the same. We sure, we've come home now, and there's some difficulties. We've had 2,000 years away, but we are the people who were exiled 2,000 years ago, and now finally we're back. And it's difficulty, but the point, we're reintegrating into the region, and we are part of this region. We are all here together. We have to work it like the peace will come when we realize we're cousins, basically. We're not
I
some
mean,
West
we know we're
completely
cousins,
opposed.
but cousins can't share the same wife. That's the problem. You know, and that's the summarizes. I mean, I respect what you're saying, and I respect that you're a hardcore Zionist and nationalist, and although I'm personally very much on the contrary side, let's say, but I
That's all
respect
right.
you for what you are. You know, let's say that I, although we disagree, I will defend your right to you know the saying, right?
And likewise.
You know, and what I wanted to say regarding that point, and maybe Alberto could elaborate a bit more, is that we do not believe. I mean, certain people, I personally don't believe that there will ever be peace because. Uh, Apart from the land and apart from we're talking about objectives, you know, the أرضك إسرائيل من الفرات إلى النيل, so your promised land, the holy land, or the greater Israel project between the Euphrates and the Nile is a reality. It's in the
It's
Knesset. It's true. I mean, it is a
it's
project.
present, but it's a meme, right? Like it's, you know, there's uh, a a spark of like this aspiration, but also it's not a colonial project. But this is such a big topic. But firstly, Israel itself
You started
is
it.
not. Yeah. But okay, I'll get to the Greater Israel thing, because it's not in my lifetime, at least. It's not something where you've got like a load of Jews going, God, I can't wait till we conquer the whole of this land, right? Firstly, there's 15 million Jews, and there's 100 million Egyptians, what, 20 million Jordanians,
Yeah, but
however, 50 million
you've got the
Iraqis.
technology
Like,
and the manpower to wipe them all off if you would.
sure, but we don't want to wipe off
I
people. That's
know,
all.
because
Like,
you
if
can't do it. You can't do it because you end up wiping yourselves off.
no, it's we really don't want to. Like, it's just not a thing. We
You
have no
prefer
I,
that
intention of
they
governing
just
people. We
leave
don't
so
want to.
that you
But
don't,
anyway,
you don't have to do
so
the
sorry,
dirty
Alberto, you were
work.
saying, Alberto, sorry, you were saying something.
yeah, yeah.
I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, it was a little joke, no? That I was saying that, Maxime, you prefer that they live on their own so that you don't have to do any work, no?
No, ideally they don't leave at all. We all live together. That's the that would be the best. But
Hmm.
no,
For
I've
example,
been, because I've been listening to some people talk about this. I think it's worth saying. The the cause of the Israel-Palestine conflict is that the Palestinians don't understand the Israelis. It's Yeah, we're going to be here, like, and we are going to fight to the death to stay here because we have had 2,000 years of being separated from our home, being unsafe everywhere we go, being the victims. We have been victims for 2,000 years. We were the lowest of the world. The Jewish people were the lowest of the entire world, and then we finally, God arranged it, brought us home. The British helped, and then the British cut us off.
Lord Balfour as well arranged it.
Yeah. Look, God works through men. This is how it works. But then the British cut us off when we were being killed in the Nazi camps. The British blockaded the land and didn't let us in. So the British are also the cause of the Holocaust in part. But by God's arrangement, thank you, Lord, He brought us home. He gave us this opportunity, and the Palestinians see us as colonizers because
3,000 years ago. That's the argument.
Because it's our home. The same way England is the home of the British, the same way Arabia is the home of the Arabs.
It's your home at the expense of our home?
That's the thing. It shouldn't be at the expense, but this is how it's come. Because of the conflict, because the conflict was brought by the misunderstanding of the Palestinians. Yes, look, there also Israel has made problems. I will not deny this. I have issue with some of it. But the misunderstanding is to see the Israel as an extension of the European colonialism. No. We are also the victims of the colonialism, and also we're the ones who got rid of them. It was our terrorism, the Jewish terrorism, which got rid of the British. Otherwise, the British would have never gone. And so it is because the Palestinians and Arabs in general, many of them, see Israel as an extension of the European colonialism, when in fact Israel is a nativist project. It is the indigenous, I don't like to use that word, but it is a anti-colonial population. It's a misunderstanding. So the Palestinians have resisted Israel by treating Israel as a colonial project. And that won't work because we're not. And so we keep winning because they don't understand us. When they understand us, then
they don't give in. They don't lie back and take it.
And they shouldn't.
Let me say a few things.
I don't think the Palestinians
I really want to hear Alberto. I really want to hear Alberto because I want to say so much, but I really would rather give the mic to Alberto.
Please.
Because I have so much I want to say, but I want to respect Alberto. Please.
Go for Alberto.
Okay, thank you. So Maxime mentioned that the Hebrew people, they are like victims also of Europeans and colonialism, no? Yes, I agree with this in the sense that, yes, the Hebrew people who are living in Israel right now, they are being used as puppets and cannon fodder in order to wage the wars of the US and other European powers, no? For example, the lords, the British lords, around the time of the Balfour Declaration, they mentioned that this new Israeli state should be totally dependent on the British in order to exist. No, this is 101 imperialism. No, and you can see this in the huge amount of money transfer, technology, weapons. No, we have this war right now, unfortunately. No, so Israel is totally dependent. No. Regarding weapons, money, etc. No.
Because you see what you've just said, the West say the opposite. They say, oh, those pesky Middle Eastern Jews are exploiting the West for their own project, for their own Jewish project. So it's the Arabs say we're a project of the West, and the West say we're a project, we're doing our thing, and we are exploiting the West. So it's and we were like, no, we have our own thing going. We want to integrate with the Arabs. We want to be friendly with the West, but ultimately it's a third thing from both.
Yeah, it's true that hearing
I'm gonna explode, and I don't mean it in a literal sense. Maxim, don't worry. If I don't say it, just see how things, because I'm very opposed to your views, although I respect them, and I want to argument a bit about what Alberto was mentioning about the history of the Jewish problem, right? Someone mentioned before that the Jewish problem is a problem with the Arabs, but in fact the Jewish problem was always a European problem.
Of
because
course,
of
yeah.
usurpery, they control
Usury.
the economy.
Yeah, the European kings only let in the Jews when they could use the Jews. Because the
Yes.
Basically,
Christians weren't
and they
allowed to deal
felt
with the money, so
that
they said, okay,
that
you Jews, you
Jews
can come in, but you have to do this job.
that the Jews had the power because they owned Europe in terms of debt, because people were indebted to Jews because they managed a lot of the economy, a lot of the certain spheres in Russia, in Germany, and I'm talking about pre World War One. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the level of. So what I wanted to say is that the reality is that the Jewish problem was a European problem, and they wanted to get rid of it. And sorry if I'm using this language, Maxim, but
No, this
I,
is historical
I'm not
analysis.
trying to be disrespectful in any way or condescending. You
Yeah,
know what I
you
mean?
should hear what Jews say about each other, man.
No, but
Don't worry about it.
but what I
What do you
meant to say
mean?
is what I meant to say is that one of the strategies that Napoleon Bonaparte had at the time when he was entering into Egypt and etc., and the vision that he had of the region, is that he realized that historically the Fertile Crescent and the link between the Levant of the Arab world and Egypt, the Nile, that holy land basically, or the beginning of part of the holy land, the promised land, should never be controlled by one empire, because historically any empire that has managed to control that link between Egypt, Europe, Asia, and Africa dominated the world in terms of trade, military, geography, etc. Right? So one of the arguments that some historians mention is that he was the first one who initiated the divide and rule concept, which is we need to create a, sorry, I'm going to use this word, Maxime, and don't take offense, a virus in this region that will assure that when we, the colonial powers of France and Britain, leave, will never relay and unite into having another caliphate, another Ottoman Empire, another Abbasid caliphate, another Umayyad caliphate, etc. You know? So Balfour and obviously the Sykes-Picot Agreement as well, they saw an opportunity into hitting hitting two birds with one stone. First, they get rid of this historic enemy, or this historic, not enemy, let's use another word,
Rival.
pest,
Competitor.
or this, you know, this, yeah, exactly, this historic
The Jews in
problem.
Europe,
A
like
competitor.
an annoyance, a
Yes.
difficulty.
And at the same time, we put them in a place where we're going to assure that they're not going to be able to let other empires flourish, because they're going to need expansion. It's natural. They feel an affinity to this territory. They feel a historic significance and affiliation to it. And it's their
It's our
homeland.
home.
It was promised 3,000 years ago, and I respect it, you know. But it is I mean, historically, Jews have lived most safest with Muslims than they did with Christians or Europeans. We can
Well, we
see
lived
this.
safest when we had our own place. But yeah, I
No,
mean,
I
for
mean,
sure,
Al-Andalus, I can
the
tell you
Islamic
about
world was
Al-Andalus.
much better to the Jews than the Christian world. There's no debate there.
I mean, you can
It
talk
wasn't
about
great.
Al-Andalus. I can
It
talk
wasn't great.
about in Spain. We're Spanish. We know that the Inquisition and what happened with the purification of the Muslims and the Sephardi Jews was horrible. And the Ottomans came and saved the Jews. That's a reality historically. And they came, this is a narration of history that says that certain Muslims and Jews were saved only during the night, because they've been so long tortured and put in dungeons and the dark, that if they would be exposed to the light, they would be blind. So they took them during the nighttime and saved them in boats and took them back to Istanbul and the north of Africa
The
as well.
Sultan
You know?
Santa fleet, yes.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's what some of the narrations of history. So what I wanted to say is that technically this land was a land for no, like Salah ad-Din used to say, it's for no one, but it's for everyone. You know what I mean? And so it's supposed to be a land that we share. And under the reign or the responsibility or the caring of the Muslims, we had harmony with the Jews. We never had
Well, no,
beef with Jews
you
until
ruled us.
today.
It was not always violent. There was peace, but we were governed by you. We had to pay the jizya. We were not equal.
What do you mean not
It
equal,
was
man?
it was
I mean, if we're
a
managing
mistake.
the empire, and we're managing expansion and military and everything, the least you can pay is tax. I mean, you live in the
Yeah, we
country,
can
for
pay
fuck's
tax, but
sake, man.
we can be
Sorry.
equals. We shouldn't pay a different tax. You see, in the state of Israel, an Arab and a Jew is equal. And in fact, the Arabs have privileges. They don't have to join the army. We have 2 million Arab citizens. So I'm not talking about the Judea and Samaria, the occupied territories, which will be annexed very soon. I'm talking about the citizens of Israel, the 20% of the Israeli population who are Arabs, Muslims. They are equal. They have the same rights, the same and more privileges because they don't have to join the army. They can, but they don't have to. Every Jew has to join the army. See,
But
this is
I
equality.
think that
This
I
is
think the
this is
reason they
real
don't join.
liberation. This is real egalitarianism.
I
This
know.
is
I
the
think the reason they
being
don't join the
second-class
army is
citizens having different laws. This isn't. Look, I'm not. I appreciate and I respect that Islam has been much better to Jews generally over history than Christianity, because Islam has a place for Jews, whereas Christianity has no place. But it is not. It is not something that a people who want sovereignty and to govern themselves can accept, because it is not self-governance. It is government by an other people.
What do you think, Alberto? You were saying something and we cut you off. Sorry.
oof, I have many things to say. For example,
How much
regarding
time
the,
do both of you have? Because I just booked you for 20 minutes and it's over.
I could do like 15 more minutes until.
Fantastic. I've got all the time in the world, but I want to respect both of your times. You know what I mean? Like,
It's great. We should we can continue this. We can make a series or something. This is great.
I love it. But let's pass the mic to
Yes,
Alberto because
I'm
I
up for
feel
it.
like he has a lot he wants to say and he's just keeping his poker face, but
Yeah,
he's
I
boiling
appreciate
inside.
his very gentle tone.
no, for example, some counter arguments, no, to Maxime, no. For example, regarding the service in the army, I think the reason is that those Arabs are not trusted, to serve in the army. For example, when you see the Knesset, I saw in previous elections that the Arab bloc, at some instances, they seem to be able to be the second force, because the other parties were, fighting each other, unable to make alliances. But at the end, the Hebrew parties always coordinated in such a way that the Arabs don't have access to those special committees regarding intelligence, defense, etc. The important matters of the state. No, so
For sure,
you
we
obviously
need to
see
look after
that there
national security.
there are mischievous people, trying to blockade, and drive Arabs, out of the important matters in the society,
Yeah,
Other
yeah.
things.
The reality is that it's valid. There's a reason for that, because they would try to give away the land.
Yes,
Don't you think
yes,
that goes
it's
both
true.
ways, Maxime? Maxime, don't
Yeah,
you think that
that's a
goes
fair
both
point.
ways?
It's a fair point. But I think if you have a people in your country who are like that, then that shows that what you're doing isn't sustainable. You're operating. And I speak of Israel, not of Israel, and of the second-class status of Jews within Islamic society. But if you need to oppress someone to keep everything sustained, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah, it's like when you talked about the jizya, no, the tax. I think it's a mistake. Historically, yes, non-Muslims paid jizya. It's in the jurisprudence, in the laws of Islam, no. But I would like to bring our attention to the origin of this jizya tax, no. The origin was when there was a battle between Muslims and Jews in Khaybar, no. In Medina, there was a pact between some Hebrew Jewish tribes and the Muslims, no. and the Jews betrayed this alliance. No, so the Muslims fought in Khaybar against the Jews, and they were going to expel those Jews from that land, no, to be secure, no, and the chief of the Jews came to Prophet Muhammad and said, no, please, let us stay here, cultivate our land, and we will give you these jizya tax, half of the yield, no? So the origin was not of the Prophet, was not of the Muslims, but of other people, the defeated, no? Because that was the, you know, the attitude, the customs, the traditions of that era, you know. And in Islam we have a tradition that when the Messiah comes, he will abolish this jizya, this tax, no? And there will be like a fusion, a union of the monotheistic religions, no? Christianity, the Jewish, no, and the Muslims, no. And also regarding taxes, you know, we have traditions in the Hadith, in the prophetic traditions, that say that, you know, the tax collector will never enter paradise, no? And that, for example, if people go to a market to do business, no, they are forbidden to pay taxes, you know, to the controller of that market, you know. So yes, in my opinion, I think it's a mistake charging people taxes, you know, because, you know, we are created free, no? We humans are created free. We are not slaves of other people, and taxes is some sort of slavery, we could say.
I don't know. I disagree with you, Alberto. I feel like any empire needs to be managed and needs to be financed, and Muslims pay different types of tax. We have zakah. We have, you know, we have taxes internally that we
Besides
have
zakat, which one?
No, but you have to
Besides
contribute
zakat?
with jihad. I mean, you can't oblige, in a Muslim caliphate, in a Muslim empire, you can't oblige a non-Muslim to go and to fight into a cause he doesn't believe in, unless he's a mercenary, he
Yes,
gets paid for
I
it.
know. But besides zakat, what are the other taxes in Islam?
No,
None.
but we have, it's not taxes, but we can give it a different word, because, for example, when you liberate a slave, a Jewish person doesn't have an obligation to liberate a slave, okay? He doesn't have, morally, yes, but I mean, by his faith, maybe, or by the tradition at the time, if he has a slave, an African dude, or a nice Arab guy working for him, 1,000 years ago, that's an asset. That's like having a cow. I'm not going to sell a cow. It makes me money. You know what I mean? And we as Muslims have a certain obligation into abolishing slavery, for example. We have an obligation into contributing to the welfare of the society. You know, we have etc. etc. And you're not obliged as a non-Muslim to contribute to that. And plus, if we're going to war and we're expanding the empire, this needs to come out of somewhere. And if you live within the empire, you need to pay tax. I totally
Why
agree
do you
with that.
need? Why do you need to go to war? Why?
This is where
There is no
leads to
reason.
what I want to say, which is I think this relates very much to the misunderstanding of Israel that I was speaking of earlier, which is we don't want an empire. Israel exists because we had nowhere else to go, because that is all we have. If we don't have Israel, the Jewish problem will be solved by someone.
Where are you now, Maxim? In Britain?
In London, but I'm
London?
very soon I'll be in.
Okay, my friend, we're gonna
have
send
London.
mom to her house now, right now.
Yeah. Please go for Whitechapel. Whitechapel is where you need to hit.
Don't worry, my friend.
So
We
you are
have
in
contacts
London,
here.
no? Maxim, you are in London currently, so you have a place, no? You don't need Israel.
Last week, the Jewish ambulances were burnt by some Pakistani men. A couple of months ago, a Jewish synagogue was shot by a Syrian man.
Maxim,
There
please
are
don't go
people
there,
in England,
because
many
we
people in
can
England
mention
who-
the genocide that's happening, and you know it's not a fair fight.
What does that have to do with me in London? What is got to do
We
with
don't
some
have to
Jewish
go personal
ambulances
on
in a
that.
synagogue in
I think
Manchester?
the argument that Alberto was trying to mention, if I'm not misunderstanding him, is that you do have a house. He's trying to say
Yeah,
that
sure.
you have a home.
And then when the English decide for the third or fourth time in their history that they don't want the Jews anymore, then I won't. It was many times in English history, all of European history, that the Europeans have gone, the Jews, it's just too much of a problem. It's not worth it. They all need to go. And if they don't go, then we'll just kill them. It's as
I
a Jew, and
propose
this is
something,
what
Maxim.
you're not
I propose something,
understanding.
Alberto.
As a Jew, you are never
I
safe
give you
in anywhere. And the only place we can be safe is when we look after ourselves, and we would rather die defending ourselves than hope that someone else will look after us.
Facts. I totally agree with you,
yes,
Maxim. What I
you
wanted
know,
to say is, what I'm sorry, Alberto. I know you wanted to say something, but just to respect and
no
put
problem.
a
No
sense of,
problem.
because we're going into a different topic right now, and if we open this topic, we're gonna stay here for a while, and you know what I mean. I'm trying to moderate this because I feel like we have a very clean and harmonious and civilized platform that we can create another discussion we can share with other people who might be interested to hear. If you guys are open, we can book a slot. I know, for example,
Let's
on
make
Discord,
episodes. This is a really
yeah,
good dynamic. I think
you
it'd
know
be
what I
good.
mean? Because it's very healthy and it's very noble. And plus, we are the three of us civilized enough to not be disrespectful or inappropriate or anything like that. And I feel a lot of people can benefit from that. I mean, in head on and elsewhere. You know what I mean? So what I was gonna propose is maybe we can, if you guys are open to it, once a week, or we'll try it once and see what kind of reception we get out of it. We book a slot that works with the three of us, and we have, this vibe, this thing.
Let's do it.
Yes, I'm up for it.
Okay.
You know,
I'll
I
tell you right
propose
now,
that.
my calendar is fully booked. I'm fully booked, fully open because I'm working. But on the afternoons, I have a lot of time. So for me, during the week or during the weekend, I prefer during the week. And if it's after 7 or 8 p.m., we can book an hour or an hour and a half, for example, and we go live and we stream on Head On or any other platform where people can hear us and benefit from this conversation, because I think we're worth it. We're good for it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's. I think what would be. I'm just thinking logistics. If you can, because I know YouTube has this feature now where you can publish something with two channels together. So
Yes,
if you can do like a
co-hosting.
head-on and your channel,
Yes,
I don't
I
know
don't
how
know
it
how to
works.
do
I
that.
can look
Maybe you
into
can
it.
show me how to do that, Maxim.
I'll figure it out because this is my the project I've been tasked with now is Head On hasn't really we're building Head On, right? We're developing the community and the Discord, and we're testing ideas, and of course we're developing the actual platform where eventually we'll be able to do all of this exclusively on the platform, and from there stream it to other places. But yeah, so my task right now, my job in Head On, is to start putting out content on the YouTube, to start promoting the YouTube and to get activity going there. So
Because
yeah,
I
I
was
will
gonna propose, for example, sorry I cut you off there.
no, go for it.
What I was gonna say is I see on Discord on the channel on Head On there's an option that says go live, streaming, stage 2 streaming.
Yeah, but it's you can't it's much better to record it here, and then we can
No, I
stream
mean,
to the
because
Discord
streaming means I
stage.
tried to do it. It means going. This is streaming. This is live.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
But it's
I
not.
feel like if I go now to streaming on Discord
Yeah.
and say, for example, I joined. I see it's recording. It's recording with a bot. But if for example, if we switch this,
Yeah, I mean,
sorry,
all you have to do is if you go on the Discord stage, then now your screen and your audio is being streamed to Discord, which is great. We should definitely do that as well, so that people can join straight from Discord. But also, I want it to be on the YouTube, so it stays on the YouTube and it's YouTube content.
because YouTube is the main driver. Definitely, I totally
Yeah,
agree with you.
YouTube is public. The Discord is it's a closed community.
Is internal.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
open, but it's a
yeah. We
different
can
space.
we can
Yeah,
dive
I
on
want it
that.
to be like recorded on the YouTube so people can go later on because the Discord doesn't record it; it's
Yeah,
just live.
make comments
How
on
about we
live,
create
etc.
a channel, create a channel on Head On, like one of these discussions, like the open dialogue, the global politics, the minute dialogue, you know?
So that would be a circle. That is what the circles are. So the create your channel feature, it looks like they're working on it at the moment because they've just created a new bot, which is like specifically for head on to do that. That's like for temporary voice conversations on head on. Or in the Discord, but yeah, the categories of the channels are what we call circles. So that's like a sub community. So I have my own
Yes,
community.
that's what I wanted to say. We can communicate, the three of us and whoever later on joins at you know, and create a sub channel where we can communicate on Discord in written without having to exchange
I can do this right
WhatsApp
now. What do you want to call it?
what do you
It
want
can
to
be
call it,
your
Alberto?
thing. Like it doesn't have to be for this conversation specifically. I think it should be.
So let's call it
What do you
open
want?
minds. Open
Open minds.
minds. You know
Open
what I
minds,
mean?
and I'll
Because at
make
the end,
you
it goes both
the
ways.
host.
It goes like we're open-minded, and opens like we're opening minds, like open minds. You know,
Very
your
nice.
mind, the opening, you're opening the mind. You know.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. It's time for prayer. I don't know if you have the intention to keep going for a long time.
No, I
think
have
it
a
will
call
take
at
me
9 and I have my prayer as well. So if
it
you
will
want,
take me
Maxime,
5
you just
minutes
create that
only.
channel.
No, I've got to head off anyway. But guys, this was a
Sí,
pleasure.
okay.
We're gonna do some really cool things together, and may
Absolutely.
your
Okay, good.
prayers be.
And Maxime, if you want to create the channel, invite us and we'll communicate through that channel, through that circle.
Yeah, let's do that. I will do that right now. So when you come back from prayer, it'll be ready.
Blessings, many blessings, Maxime. Toda achsheli, shalom aleichem.
Toda.
Shalom Aleichem, no?
Yeah.
The same.
Okay,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Good job.
Pleasure.
See you around.
See you, bye bye.
Bueno, tío, voy a hacer el rezo, que ya está
Sí, yo
oscureciendo.
tampoco he rezado el Magreb, tío, que se me va a ir y tengo una
Que no,
llamada a las
¿verdad?
9 además, así que a ver.
Ah, ¿no? Muy majo el hombre este.
Sí, pero
Hay
cañero,
mucho tema para
cañero,
hablar.
tío.
¿Cómo?
Que es cañero, que
¿Cómo?
no es fácil, que suelta temas interesantes.
Pues está bien, así no nos aburrimos, ¿no?
Claro, ¿no? Que quiero decir que no es. Que me parece muy interesante, ¿sabes? Que es lo que quiero decir, ¿sabes?
Oye, una cosa, bueno, voy al rezo.
Sí,
Luego tú
sí,
andas
sí,
ocupado.
vete, ya escribimos después.
Vale, esto, pues yo no sé, que le doy a Leaf y ya está, ¿no?
Tú lead
No
y
tengo
ya
que
está,
hacer nada
lead
más,
y
¿no?
yo lo gestiono ya, tranquilo.
Vale, venga, tío. Pues
Venga,
asalamu alaikum.
hasta luego. Venga.